Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to welcome you all to our seventh webinar organized within the series called Cities Innovate webinar, organized by the city of Torino as European Innovation Capital 2024-2025. Welcome to this webinar whose title is Future Cities are Zero Emission Cities. Turin meets Valencia and Vilnius. It's a pleasure to open this dialogue, which connects, as you already know, European cities committed to climate neutrality. Today, we will hear from Valencia, Vilnius, and Turin on how the EU mission for climate neutral and smart cities is shaping strategies, partnership, and also concrete innovations on the ground. Our goal is to exchange experiences, highlight both challenges and solutions, and explore what other cities can learn from these journeys towards zero emissions. And it is a pleasure for me to say that we are almost at the end of our series, of our webinar series, but we will have the opportunity to meet you all in person in Torino on the 3rd and 4th of December, when we will host a Cities Innovate conference in person together with the European Innovation Capital Awards ceremony for 2026. So, no more speaking. I am delighted to hand over to our moderator, Jakob Schabus, who will guide us through today's discussion. Before leaving the stage to Jakob, just to say that we'd like to acknowledge that today's panel is not very well gender balanced. We tried to include, as usual, female speaker, but unfortunately it wasn't possible this time. But again, we are very grateful to the excellent speakers who are with us today, and we will keep striving for diversities, as usual, across the series and beyond. So thank you all, and please, Jakob, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Elena, and thank you for the City of Turin for organizing the series and hosting us today. I have the great pleasure to moderate this conversation, and my name is Jakob Schabus. I work for IQ Samhällsbyggnad, the Swedish Center for Innovation Quality in the Built Environment, and I also work for the European Partnership Driving Urban Transitions. Today, we will learn about the climate neutrality work and efforts of 3 European cities, Valencia, Vilnius, and Turin. And we will have case presentations by each of them, followed by a joint discussion. Before we hear from the cities represented today, I would like to introduce the DUT partnership, how we work with climate, and most importantly, how you can engage with us. And with that, Julia, I would like to ask you to put on the PowerPoint presentation. And perfect, and go directly to the next slide. Excellent. So DUT stands for Driving Urban Transitions to a Sustainable Future, and it's a European research and innovation program that is part of the framework program Horizon Europe. And our mission is a climate neutral and resilient future for all, and we contribute with research and innovation, but also with capacity building to it. DUT consists of 68 partners from 30 countries, and we work with 3 main focus areas, so-called transition pathways, and those are the 15 minutes city, that is a lot about urban mobility, logistics, and public spaces. We work with circular urban economies, that is all about circular resource flows, enhanced well-being of people and ecosystems, and regenerative urbanism. And last but not least, with positive energy districts, those are energy efficiency, renewable energy production, and energy flexibility at the local level. And what's important with these 3 pathways is that all DUT research projects connect to at least one of them. And as you can tell, all 3 of them have a strong climate connection, and especially a strong climate mitigation connection, the topic of today. Next slide, please. So how can you engage with us? The DUT Call 2025 just opened, and you can probably apply to be a part of it. And This call is about helping cities tackle urban challenges and transition towards a climate neutral and resilient future for all. And projects should contribute to one of the three transition pathways that I just outlined. Next slide, please. So very different organizations can apply for it. One slide back, please. So very, very different organizations can apply to be part of it. There's some different regulations around it. For example, that partners and a research project should have 3 partners from 3 countries and an urban authority. And they apply then for 3 years research and innovation projects. And most projects in the end have a total budget of 1 to 2 million euros. The important thing here is that the part 1 of the application phase is open now till 17th of November, and one can submit proposals. In the end, the plan is that these will start towards end of 2026, beginning of 2027. And a key point here is that we have a matchmaking platform with more than 1,000 people registered right now. So say if you are a municipality or a research organization and you have a great idea, but you need partners to join you for your application, then you've come to the right place. If you're on the other way, say you work with positive energy districts and you would like to join an application that somebody has prepared, a great idea somebody else has, then it's also the right thing. So either way, the matchmaking platform is a good place to connect. Next slide, please. You will get all the info on our website, including links to the matchmaking platform, FAQ, detailed instructions on how to submit. And currently we have information days taking place, and I hope that this is interesting for some of you and that some of you will apply to be part of that call and hopefully also be selected to join us on our journey. Thank you, Julia, for sharing. And now you can stop sharing, and it is time to go from research to policy and implementation. The European Union has a mission to deliver 100 climate neutral and resilient cities by 2030. The idea is that these cities are experimentation and innovation hubs, and that all cities will follow suit by 2050. Cities sign a so-called climate city contract, a roadmap towards climate neutrality. And I'm very happy to have experts from 3 climate cities with me here today in alphabetical order. We have Alejandro Gómez Gil. Alejandro is coordinator of European projects and urban strategies at Valencia Climate and Energy. We have Anton Nikitin. He is Chief Sustainability Officer at the municipality of Vilnius. And last but not least, we have Luca Sobrino. He is officer at the Ecological Transition Department at the municipality of Turin. And in the run-up to this event, I asked the 3 of them, can you share a concrete example of how your city is innovating for climate neutrality as part of the EU mission and what others can learn from it? And now it's time to hear their answers, and we will again go in alphabetical order. So starting with you, Alejandro, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jakob. So yeah, good afternoon, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if I can do it. Okay. So yeah, thank you very much for inviting me, and it's a pleasure. I'm representing here Valencia, Spain, and as you may know, we were the European Green Capital last year, 2024. And now, of course, as it has been said, we are also very proud of being a mission city. We have the mission label since 2023 already. We are actually now this year just approving the kind of 2 years after version of our Climate City contract with all the updates of what has happened during these first 2 years of being in the mission. And I work in a foundation from the municipality of Valencia. It's called Valencia Clima y Energia, Valencia Climate and Energy. We basically develop projects related to climate change. And yeah, I wanted to share one of these projects, one that is quite innovative in different ways. So it's basically this. The first innovation, it's the name. I have to say, it was not my idea, but the project is called Requiem in Power, and basically the whole point is to put PV installations, photovoltaic installations in the roofs of the cemeteries of the city, as you can see in the pictures. Basically, it came from the clear fact that the public cemeteries in Valencia are the larger public surface that there is, and that is property of the municipality. So in terms of, well, we were thinking, how do we scale up photovoltaic installations in the city? Because we have all these pilot installations, small installations in different buildings, public, private, and so on. But we want to go bigger. And we thought, yeah, this is a big surface that we have available that no one is using. And that actually, if you visit the cemetery, you won't see the solar panels either from the floor. So it came from there. And it's a quite simple thing. Of course, it requires a lot of technical knowledge. The tendering process was quite hard because it was a big installation, 2.8 megawatts. At that time, we are not sure now, but at that time we thought it was the biggest public solar installation in an urban context in a city. But then the main innovation is not that. The main innovation is what you see here, that the idea was to use 5 public cemeteries and then share the production of solar energy with the people that live around these cemeteries. So this was a political decision to give 75% of the energy to be self-consumed by municipal buildings, but then to give 25% of the energy to more than 800 households for them to get this energy for free. And these households were selected by us with the help of the social services of the city. So basically, they are families in energy poverty. And with this, we are not only giving them renewable energy, but we are basically ensuring that they have enough energy to live a decent and a nice life. So this is the story in short. The 2 main learnings is the main importance of defining and distributing responsibilities inside of the public administration. So as I said, administratively, this was quite hard to do because there are different departments involved in the process, and a lot of regulations and tendering processes and so on. So yeah, it's important to manage that from the beginning, and as always, to have the mayor buy-in from the beginning. So it doesn't come from a department of climate change, but it comes from the mayor, and you have her support throughout the process. And then the other learning that I want to highlight is that we now know that we can move from small pilot projects to larger scale projects, but maintaining the focus on a just transition. So it was important that to realize that we can go from small projects to city level projects, but still have this focus on how do we use this to fight energy poverty in this case, and so on, not forgetting that part. So yeah, thank you very much. This was the example that I wanted to share today.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Alejandro. And what an inspiring and perhaps even surprising case of innovation that one would not think about in the first place. I look forward to hearing more about it later on. Next up, we have the case presentation from Vilnius. Anton, please go ahead and share.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's an honor, and I'm really glad to be here and sharing a story from Vilnius. I will just put on the slides so that I can present. Today I wanted to be really open about one aspect of climate transition. In our case, it's basically having citizens on board, and in other words, what means that it's having more than 600,000 innovators. Just a quick context from Vilnius, is a capital of Lithuania. We have just celebrated 702 years birthday. We are one of the fastest growing cities in terms of both economy, but also the residents numbers. As the EU zero emission city, we are aiming at climate neutrality, which is a very ambitious plan for us. After Valencia, we took over the Green Capital name, and also, just for funsies, we are a city of happy citizens with quite a lot of people being happy in the city. But we say that we're not the greenest city just yet. We're the greenest city in the making, and we're learning a lot during this path. And quite a big part of this path is learning the lessons together with the citizens and together for us as the city officials or the politicians. And innovations for us are not just technological things. It's a lot about people, and it's a lot about new ways of involving citizens in shaping the city. And I will talk about 3 short and quick lessons we had during the past, I'd say almost a decade, but more or less even 5 or 6 years. So one was related to sustainable mowing of the meadows. We've been doing the usual thing that a lot of cities were doing for ages, and in 2020 we tried out the sustainable mowing. In 2022 we made it this huge citywide decision that that's a new standard, and in 2023 the uncut grass has become one of the main topics of the election. Another story, another quick hint of what we've done is the loop circulation plan we introduced in the Old Town. Actually, it happened during the COVID. We had it in our SUMP since 2018. We had the first ideas in the 90s, but in 2020 we had the opportunity and we used it as we needed more space for us becoming a largest open-air cafe. And also it demonstrated really good results, lower car numbers, less transit, less noise, less pollution and everything. And in 2023, you guessed it, elections came. And the third short story is us growing the cycling network and understanding while doing that, understanding that we need to redesign the whole streets, the whole streetscape. And we did make a cycling as a priority in 2016. In the COVID, we also saw that we need more space for all road users. And in 2021, we introduced the street design guide, which actually redistributed some of the street space amongst more users than just the cars. And in 2023, you guessed it, that was the second major topic of our election campaigns in the municipality. So we were doing the right things. We were doing quite a lot of things for the green transition, but what could go wrong? And we probably had some kind of angry and some kind of not happy people, because we didn't make everybody happy at the same time, and we made mostly everybody a bit unhappy. It sometimes were pedestrians, it sometimes were tree lovers, and sometimes were politicians or journalists. And we were doing a lot of change in a very short period of time. If you saw the timelines, it was really, really quick for us to do that. we underestimated the anger, and we saw, and we just have been starting to have the involvement as a co-design as our daily practice in the city, and elections did make the things political. And we learned from that we had to kind of have more appeal and more approach with the citizens and co-create with the citizens, because some of the decisions were most in a way top-down decisions from the city, and we didn't take enough time for discussions or testing new ideas. And now we see that whether it's a street level or the neighborhood scale or the groups of stakeholders, it's a must to do. Sometimes we need to slow down, even though we have to, we are running through all this transition all the time, and the situation is changing every day, but we have to have more things, and especially informal gatherings, to build the trust. One of the examples is in the picture is us planting together with the citizens, which is a major success in Vilnius. And sharing the ownership also worked for us. It's both projects up for voting, it's participatory budgets, it's upcoming citizens assembly. And for instance, with the mowing project, with the sustainable mowing, we let people decide more on what they want to see in their surrounding area, because they know the area the best. How do we do some of the things? Just a really quick recap for that. We actually involve the citizens in as many stages as possible and as early as possible, just to have the very good analysis and also come up with the best results together with the citizens. So going through all these different workshops and presentations together, so that we get to the best results. It's also sometimes just the walks and talks with the community. It's sometimes talking with the conferences. It's sometimes live consultations or workshops as well. And therefore, we see that the city can become a place and a living lab, as you may call it, together with, in our case, it's 600,000, more than 600,000 city innovators or citizens. And building trust takes time, but we need to have more agreement on green goals. And if we treat streets and other public spaces as living labs, we have to know that the residents are and can be our co-designers, and they know the best how to use the street. We can, create it together. And one of the learning experiences and one of the takeaways, I'd say that climate neutrality or any other policy will last only with enough of citizen support. That's why we really push, especially with the Green Capital Year, but also just from a very good examples from our election campaigns, that we have to have as many supporters as possible. And the innovation for us is mostly social. It's mostly about people, and that's where we have to have more talks in our societies. And I just love showing this slide, that all the magic is happening where we change as a municipality and citizens change together, and that's where we get more agreement, especially on the green goals, which I feel still don't have enough in our cities and in our countries. So thank you, and see you in Vilnius very soon.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Anton, for this very inspiring presentation. I had the great pleasure to be in Vilnius for the first time this year at the Cities Mission Conference, and I'm not surprised to hear that there's so many happy people living there. And I look forward to hearing more about citizen engagement later on. Definitely a topic that we want to pick up as well next to energy. Now I'm going to hand over the word to Luca for our third and final presentation of the day. Luca, the floor is yours.
Hello, I will try to share my presentation. First of all, thank you for inviting me to speak today. This presentation will be about the journey towards climate neutrality undertaken by the city of Turin. Turin's pathway towards climate neutrality began in 2008 when the city signed up to the Covenant of Mayors, committing itself to drawing up a CO2 emission inventory and a sustainable energy action plan. In 2010, the City Council approved the Turin Action Plan for Energy, The first structured plan aimed at reducing emissions through concrete and integrating actions. 3 monitoring reports have been issued updating the energy and emission inventory, verifying progress and introducing new measures. A further step had been taken in 2019, joining the new Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy, committing to reduce emissions by at least 55% by 2030 compared to 1991 level, and to develop strategy for adapting to climate change. In 2023, the City Council approved the SECAP Sustainable Energy and Climate Action Plan that envisages an overall reduction in CO2 emissions by 68% by 2030 compared to 1991. In 2022, the city has been selected as part of the European Mission 100 Climate Neutral and Smart Cities by 2030, which supports 100 pilot cities in achieving climate neutrality 20 years ahead of the deadline set by the European Green Deal. The road to Climate City contract started in January 2022 when the city of Turin submitted its application to the European Mission 100 Climate City Neutral and Smart Cities by 2030 and has been selected among the 100 European cities in April of the same year, with other 8 Italian cities. In June 2022, Turin started the discussions with the European Commission and the other selected Italian cities, with the common goal of developing a Climate City contract, an action plan to reduce the greenhouse gases emission in key urban sectors. In order to guide the process, Turin set up a mission team involving the Municipal Department of Environment and Ecological Transition and European funds, with scientific support from Politecnico di Torino through Energy Security and Transition Lab of Energy Center. The university contributed with the expertise of its Department of Energy, Environmental, Land and Infrastructure Engineering, and Architecture and Design, developing mathematical models and an innovative IT platform to support planning. The process began with 17 bilateral meetings dedicated to different categories of stakeholders, such as companies owned by the cities, research institutions, trade association, banks, public institutions, and students. Eventually, the Climate City contract has been submitted in March 2024. The Clima City contract requested the draft of an inventory of the greenhouse gases emissions within the borders of the city. 2019 has been chosen as a reference year. The total estimated emissions are 2.4 million tons CO2 per year, with almost 70% due to the stationary sector, in particular the residential area. This led the city to decide to focus its action in this area. After a process of review of the Clima City contract, on 22nd October 2024, the city of Turin obtained a mission label, which represents the recognition by the European Commission of the commitments made by the city, and will facilitate access to the opportunities offered by EU funding program. The Climate City contract is a tool that will guide the city in outlining the steps to achieve climate neutrality, describing the plan action and investment plan for the implementation. It is a dynamic document that is constantly evolving and may be subject to progressive updates in the coming years. 3 different components are envisaged. Commitments identified in a process involving local, regional, and national actors committed to define a strategy to achieve climate neutrality as quickly as possible. The action plan, which starting from the identification of the strengths and weaknesses of the existing strategies, policies, and plans at city level, identifies a set of measures to achieve the mission 2030 goals. The investment plan, a business plan that guides the measures and provides an assessment of the cost and impact of the actions, with a view to mobilizing public funding and attracting private capital. The Climate City contract of the City of Turin was signed by 6 signatories that are public entities such as City of Turin, Metropolitan City, Piedmont Region, Politecnico Torino, University of Turin, and Chamber of Commerce. 16 main partners, mainly publicly owned companies and bank foundations, and 60 supporters, mainly private enterprises and associations. In order to engage further stakeholders, the city has therefore defined a recognition process for those who decide to join. Specifically, two levels have been defined. Member level, for stakeholders who intend to support the climate neutrality process but cannot provide actions that can be accounted in terms of reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, and partner level, for stakeholders who implement concrete actions and can provide the administration with all the data on avoided CO2. Stakeholders will receive a label that they can use in their communication and corporate promotion activities as a sign of their participation in achieving the city goal of climate neutrality through participation in the CCC implementation phase. The label process is addressed both to existing signatories and other organizations that have not been involved yet, such as NGOs, associations, and enterprises. The main benefit for participants will be the possibility to get involved in a network with national and European visibility and receiving a label to use in corporate communication and promotional activity to showcase participation in pursuit of the city's climate neutrality goal. Thank you for your attention.
Excellent. Thank you, Luca, for introducing us to the efforts by the city of Turin. And the Climate City contract is something we will return to in just a second. Please join us on stage again, all of our participants. And I have forgotten to say before, if you do have any questions, any reflections, anything you would like to pose, then post them in the general chat, and we will dedicate some time later on to bring them up. Now, I would like to go back to the mission cities. All of our speakers here today have a certain Climate City contract within their city, and I would like to know, how do you organize climate neutrality work inside your city? And yeah, I would like to give the word maybe first to Anton.
It takes some time to open the window. Yeah, we do have the Climate City contract, and actually that's a big question, how to organize the job in the city. We have kind of a good situation in terms of that we have two major challenges in the city. So one is the transport and another one is energy, and that corresponds to more than 94% of our carbon emissions. So that's, the one part is actually implementing our sustainable urban mobility plan. We have our infrastructure department and both the agency for transport organization, so they work hard in those terms, and then we have our central heating company and actually a strong company who is working with the energy efficiency of the residential buildings, and we as a team in the municipality also do the municipal buildings. So that's the idea that we kind of share the responsibilities in terms of the topic is needed, but it's a long way. As I already said in my presentation, that's a very ambitious goal, and it is still a learning curve for us as well, how to organize it best.
Excellent. And as I understand you, it is not a mission for a small team that has to implement this, but this is a job for the broader municipality plus other actors as well. Yeah. I wonder, could we also spotlight Alejandro and Luca to see them and hear their opinions on this matter, how things are done in Valencia and Turin? Alejandro, I see you. Do you want to add something here?
Yeah, sure. I think it's a very important topic. How do we organize ourselves in municipalities, and how do we collaborate with other stakeholders? And the mission has put also, since like from the beginning, strong focus on that, on governance. Basically, I mean, it's a complex scheme, what we are trying now in Valencia. Basically, we have different working groups. We have like some kind of core team that is the one that manages and coordinates everything that deals with sustainability in Valencia. So the mission, CCAP, other strategies, other plans, and things like that. Here, the main advice, to say it like that, is that in our case, at least, it needs to have the mayor's office in the core team, in order to then be able to collaborate with other departments and with other entities. You need to have, the mayor's office there, and so on. Then we have an extended working team inside of the municipality. That's what we call the sustainability community. That basically involves almost 20 departments of the city. So it gives an idea of how large climate change and sustainability can be in terms of cross-sectorality. And then, as Anton was saying, there we have mobility, energy, green infrastructure, innovation, citizens' participation. A lot of departments are involved in this. And then, to go outside of the municipality, we are now launching what we call the Sustainability Roundtable. And this roundtable is basically a group, kind of a governance body, with more than 60 entities coming from the different helixes. So private companies, universities, civil society organizations, public administrations, and so on, to again keep kind of sharing this same vision of the carbonizing Valencia, and so on. And then so these three spaces, core team, community, and roundtable, are the kind of key structure. And then, of course, as every city, we have lots and lots of different initiatives to engage citizens at neighborhood level, to collaborate with private companies in specific projects, and so on. But I mean, I think it's a key element how to govern sustainability in a city.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I hear you echo also what Anton said, and maybe add also leadership from the top does help. I understand. Luca, do you want to add something from Turin?
From our side, we had a deep collaboration, most between, in particular, two departments of our municipality: the former ecological and environment and ecological transition department, and the European funds department for the political part. And for the scientific support, the Politecnico di Torino, in particular the Energy Center, who is responsible for the research and the development of an IT platform, who is used to compute the impact of our action, and to produce our energy and CO2 inventory. I would like also to stress how the collaboration with stakeholders that are external to the municipality, such as public transport enterprises in our city, and the energy local supplier, because the municipality itself has not completely the power to have a very deep impact alone. Let's say the actions in our city that are more impactful are construction of the second line of our underground and the extension of our district heating network that are not directly under the control of our municipality, but are dealt by the local public transport company and the local energy supplier that are in part under the public control.
Excellent. And I see Anton wants to add something here.
Yeah, I forgot to tell. Actually, one of the ideas from Vilnius was to establish the position I now have the kind of honor to take is to have the chief of sustainability or sustainability officer whose main job is try and coordinate all the different things, because we're not talking only about the climate neutrality, we're talking about the resilience, we're talking about the sustainability and sustainable governance in our municipality and the group of companies. So it's a lot of topics we tackle, and my main job is to kind of work with all the stakeholders and have them on the same page, so that we get that. So I think that's also kind of quite rare to have the sustainability officer for the city in other cities, from what I learned.
Excellent. Now, reflecting on your 3 presentations and that you all come from mission cities, I wonder, how has being part of that group changed your approach towards climate neutrality? Is there like one key factor that you could highlight that being part of that network has brought to you?
You will have to call somebody.
All right. Well then, Anton, go ahead, please.
I mean, the main thing I would say is obviously sharing the same experiences and having the peers as a support group. And another thing, actually being part of this project, and I think the largest thing is to kind of first time ever to know what does that mean for our city to become climate neutral, and how much investments do we have to do as a society, and what works is ahead of us, because that's where it all starts,
Excellent. Anything, Alejandro, Luca, you would like to add?
I would say also following Anton, the quantitative part has been important, because we had our inventories and analysis and so on, but I would say we have improved them considerably with the mission, in terms of really allocating emissions and consumptions where they come from, and then having these 2030 levers or objectives of what we want to achieve, and how that means different costs, savings, benefits, or greenhouse gases emissions reductions. So the quantitative part has been important. And then the second part would be the, again, political buy-in. I would say that also the mission has allowed us to reinforce that. And we are lucky that in Valencia we achieved quite a broad consensus in this topic, to approve the mission and to be part of that initiative and so on. And then we have had local elections 2 years ago. The government in the municipality changed, but we were able to keep working on this as we were. So yeah, I think it brought political stability somehow.
Excellent. And that is, again, also somehow the backing from above that is needed. I wonder, Anton, you have already spoken a lot about citizen engagement. I think we could say that was the heart of your presentation. I wonder how that is for the 3 of you. Now, climate mitigation can sometimes feel very complex, can feel like numbers, and I wonder, what role does citizen engagement, community involvement play in your climate neutrality efforts? Now, Anton, you've already spoken a bit about the subject, so I would like to start maybe with the other 2, what you have to say here.
Yeah, I can start with this one. So yeah, of course, key element, and you've seen it also in our project with the PV panels in the cemeteries, that also we we made it more complex by involving citizens and vulnerable families and so on. It's basically a key element of everything we do. We know that the majority of the emissions and the majority of the consumption comes from citizens, and then the measures, as Anton has explained, the measures and the projects that the public administration implements are only successful if they are able to have the support of citizens. So basically, what we have done throughout the mission is, well, one of the things that we have done is to launch a series of events in different neighborhoods that we call them My Green Neighborhood. We also did that thanks to the European Green Capital last year. And in these My Green Neighborhood events that consist of a series of workshops and meetings and then public events and so on, what we try is to get in contact with people living in the neighborhoods to kind of see what we can actually do to improve their lives, not to fight climate change, because as you say, that's quite abstract, but to link that with being more comfortable in their houses, or being suffering less from the heat during summer in the outside and in their houses, or making them save money in their electricity bills, or making them have less noise or less cars for security reasons. So basically we link climate change projects with all these co-benefits of health, comfort, economic savings, and so on, that can resonate better with citizens.
Excellent. Anything anyone would like to add here? Otherwise, I know we are approaching the end of our hour, but I would like to know from the three of you, we've already heard some key areas and key actors, and I'm very curious, if you would need to choose one key area that is part of your climate mitigation efforts, which one would that be? Say, energy, mobility, citizen engagement? Maybe starting with you, Anton, is it citizen engagement?
I mean, I think I wouldn't say it differently than citizen engagement, because I think as strong as our society, as strong as our connection to each other, the strong we are as a city. And to be frank, it's never possible. I don't think it's possible to have a consensus on every question, and that's the beauty of the democracy. But I mean, trying to work out together, trying to have this urban culture of coexisting and co-living together, and having the eye contact on so many on so many cases and on so many instances is the answer. But if there was a second one, I would say nature-based solutions. I really want to stress that, because the cities were always the place where the nature was on the second place, and I think obviously people on the first place, but then the nature will help us thrive in the future. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Luca, would you like to add something?
First thing, I would like to stress the importance of citizen engagement, as we have told before, but in particular, the importance of acting in the stationary sector, that is our vulnerable part, the sector that produces much more greenhouse gases emission in our cities.
Excellent. Alejandro, please.
Yeah, like in terms of sectors, mobility, energy, and green infrastructure, and that's clear. But then coming back to governance, I would say that that's the key element where innovation needs to happen nowadays in cities.
Yeah. Now I think we've heard a very broad variety of key elements from the 3 different cities present here today. I would like to round up our discussions with one question, and that is, what can other European cities learn from your experience? And if you can maybe give one recommendation for cities that want to reduce their emissions, one thing they should do and one thing they maybe should not do. So one do and one don't. And this time, maybe let's go counterclockwise or not in alphabetical order. Luca, would you like to start us off?
It's been very important, the involvement of stakeholders, not only the institutional ones, but also the enterprises, from the bigger one to the smaller, medium, the student, the banks, and the importance to have them on board with a formal commitment. Something that one should not do, I don't know yet for now.
Excellent. Anton, please.
To do, I think, is just to be brave. I won't give the direct answer, but that's a lot of courage to drive this huge change towards climate neutrality, and take time. And that's I call it sometimes this. I'm not good at dancing, but cha-cha-cha sounds like something like that. You know, couple steps forward, couple steps sometimes back. So also kind of be philosophical about it. And not do, I already told during my presentation, is kind of underestimate the emotions of people and citizens, and also really consider the journalists. I think one of the things we underestimated is that, you know, the journalists that will have biased opinions on whatever you do, you really have to also have them as a separate stakeholder group, which you have to really try and work with, so that they also, it's sometimes kind of a belief thing. I don't like to call it a belief thing, because that goes you know, very broadly then, but in a way it is a bit of a belief thing, to really understand the change.
Excellent. And last but not least, Alejandro, do you have something to add?
Yeah, what to do? I will copy that one. Be brave, be bold, because these changes, the thing with transitions and with changes is that you have a lot of reluctancy, but in the end, everyone loves it. and we can see it clearly with urbanism and mobility, for instance, that every time in every city there is a lot of people against certain urban changes, but then after 5 years or 10 years everyone loves it. And then what to not do is to also a very important element, to not leave vulnerable communities behind. So try to kind of collaborate and validate everything with NGOs and with collectives that can be that can somehow suffer from the measures that you take, to be sure that it's not like that.
Excellent. And with that, we are out of time, unfortunately, because I could listen to the 3 of you for much longer. So many interesting aspects that you have raised, from bringing different actors on board, including the leadership, thinking also about actors such as journalists, but also thinking about the complexity of things and still being brave, going out of your comfort zone and accepting setbacks. Thank you so much for the 3 of you today. Thank you, Elena and the city of Turin, for organizing the series. And with that, I think that is it. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you very much to all our speakers. As usual, we will provide the registration of the webinar to be diffused onto our YouTube channels. And it will be a pleasure to meet you all in person, hopefully in Turin, into our European Capital Innovation Awards event on the 3rd and 4th December in Torino, and to continue our discussion further. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.